All right, we are live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Truman Show special. We have a special guest tonight, none other than Azul herself. And for those that don't know, that's why you're tuning into this show, so you can get to learn who she is, and we'll just have it be like the conversations that we have. So we're not going to make it
Right.
formal or anything like that. So the only housekeeping that we'll do is just an introduction of yourself, and maybe just give a little background on how, because these are just a general question, like how they find out, how they know each other. So just kind
Oh,
of your background of your story, and then kind of whatever you want to tell on how we connected, and then we can talk about whatever. And while you're
oh,
telling that, I'm gonna be back here loading this little air gun
Nerf
thing.
gun.
So don't.
Oh man,
Yeah,
who's
yeah. So
getting
I'm going.
shot
I'm
out
just
here?
gonna. No. I wanted to use this for a team building exercise kind of thing. So I just wanted to see how, if it would actually do what I think it can do. So I'm
Okay.
just gonna mute my thing as I listen, but I'm here. So I just don't want to be a distraction. So just again, a little of your background. If go ahead, you know what you're doing.
Okay, so I'm Azul. Um, how we met was through TikTok. Obviously, we both have the want and desire to basically show people that they don't have to stay in the program of this matrix that we live in, and they can get out of the distractions around the world. It's over there shooting it though. Um,
And here you are
so
talking
yeah,
about
so
distractions, and I'm back here shooting a Nerf gun. You talking about some real stuff. Let me get to it. Okay. Now this is actually serious stuff, and just because I'm shooting a Nerf gun does not mean that what she's saying is not any of this. Okay, let's regroup. Let's regroup,
right.
because people are gonna be like, okay, let's start over. So the Nerf thing works. Okay, mission accomplished there. This can be a take two. We can just recap. I don't want to be a derailment to you talking about some serious stuff, right? At least starting off, and we can make it light, but let's not start off with shooting a Nerf gun. So that's my bad.
Yeah, that was
Bad Victor MJ orange hat person with the elephant in the background. So
right.
that's why that's why I'm an amateur, and those people get paid millions of dollars. So we'll get to that. So starting again, we have a wonderful guest on the
Look,
on the show, ladies and gentlemen.
you got me
She goes
blushing
by,
again. Look.
look at her. She goes by Azul. She's blushing now. Why she's blushing, I don't know. We'll ask her that a little later. But first, need to know who we're asking. So we just want you to let the audience know a little bit about yourself, and we'll just start there.
Okay. Well, as you know, I go by Azul, which means blue, which is also my favorite color, which also represents peace. Um, so that's mostly what I like to believe in, is mostly in peace. I'm mostly a spiritualist. Do believe I do believe in God, but I only believe in one God and one God only. Um, and as I was saying before, we're mostly here trying to wake people up to the reality that we live in. We need to band together. We need to come in unity, or it's going to cause more trouble, more problems, more chaos that's going to grow. And if we don't wake up now, we won't come together. So
Hmm.
basically, that.
Gotcha. Now, okay, so let me ask you this, because hearing you say that, why
Mhm.
isn't that something that's on the news? Like, where did you come across trying to wake people up? Like, you don't hear that in the the mainstream. Like, wake people up to what? How did you come across
Being woke.
even
Well,
that?
I was all right. So my background, to be completely honest, I've always been woke. I've always seen reality in a different way than a lot of people in the world. So, from my perspective, my reality, I used to believe that everybody was going to be like me. Everybody thinks like me. Everyone acts like me. And as I grew up, I've found rude awakenings that people don't act, behave, or are like me in
Hmm.
any way, a lot of ways sometimes. So, with that being said, is the whole point of being woke is knowing and understanding that you have to learn to accept yourself. You have to learn to heal yourself. You have to learn to come to a point that you want better in life. And you can't have better in life if you're stuck in the chaos and distractions and the traumas that the world has put on you.
Mm.
So yeah,
So, and I'm kind of
felt
playing
like it's
devil's
an interview.
I'm kind of playing devil's advocate here because
All right,
it's interesting because it almost sounds like you you've always had a certain perspective or certain view as to where other people are have to awaken and kind of realize the thing that you naturally already kind of saw. Right.
right,
That's yeah,
yeah,
that's
basically.
interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to
But
know the truth, that's the truth.
right, right. No, no, no,
So,
that's cool. That's cool. Because it still doesn't discount just because you're able to see things on a certain level, it still doesn't discount. You still have to live. You're still experiencing, like you still got bills to pay. Like you're still in this reality. You're still a part of the,
right.
regardless of how spiritual or psychic or what degree of mastery you've
What
reached.
abilities you may have.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Albertsons ain't going, or Kroger or wherever you get your gas, they ain't gonna give it to you for free,
No.
right? So, and that's just part of the game that we play. So, but that's interesting, like because that's a that's not the normal experience. Like most people have to come to the realization that you kind of already naturally had. So
Living.
that's
Right.
cool.
That's what I mean by awakening. Having people come to the reality that everything isn't bliss just because you're not aware of it. You see what I'm saying?
Mm,
Like you can't go through life saying just because I didn't have this experience, I should be ignorant to it, I guess. You shouldn't have to live that way. You should be able to be a considering human being, which means you could take everybody's perspective of what they're going through and try to be considerate in how they live, how they are being treated, how they feel about certain things.
mm.
Everybody has an opinion, but you can always consider someone else's opinion.
Yeah,
That's
I mean
just
that's
it.
true. Yeah, and just because someone thinks differently or has a different opinion, that doesn't mean that what you're thinking is wrong or false, and it could be, and it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It just means that we've all
It's
thought
different.
and learned. That's a part of learning.
Right,
Um,
exactly.
yeah. So
Exactly. So
in your family, or do you have a big family, or
I have a big family, but I was mostly the loner of my family,
you're the loner? Okay,
the
so
one who
that's
was always left behind.
by choice. You chose to be the loner, or did they
Heck no,
exclude
not by
you?
choice. It's like this. My family would look at me like, you can handle it. You have the strength, but never considered me as in what I was going through or how I felt at the time. So it was a lot of, I'd rather put the pressure on you and let you go through whatever you go through to figure it out, other than
Mm,
inviting you or bringing you. So
mm,
even though I have a big family, it doesn't mean I know everybody.
gotcha. And do you think your ability to see affected your isolation in your family? You think that there's a correlation between that? Like you saw things differently, so that kind of made them, push you in the corner, kind of.
Isolate me more. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. I could say that's true. Yeah, because when people realize there's something different about you, and if I'm gonna speak on it, I've always been a truth speaker. Like I speak on it, and if I see something wrong or if I feel some type of way, I try to
uh-oh.
speak on it.
Uh-oh.
You
Oh,
know,
here we go.
try to have better communication. Uh oh.
Yeah, we about to get into it. Yeah, you
See,
see, yeah, y'all don't got to start it. Go ahead.
oh, don't do that. See, I got so shy.
Nah, I'm
I
just
do,
messing. Go
but
ahead.
like It's the truth though. Like, so if I feel some type of way, I'll speak on how I'm feeling it or what I see, or like just I put my own 2 cents in my opinions. And a lot of time my family will push me to the side because my opinions is like, oh, you're young, you don't know what you're talking about, or you just don't understand yet. And it's like, well, I actually understand way more,
Mm,
than you think. So
mm,
yeah, I was the babysitter. I was set home alone, able to take care of myself at like 9 years old, cooking my
mm.
own meals. You know what I mean? I grew up I grew up alone. I grew up mm, it's a lot.
And you were the youngest? You were the
So
youngest,
I
or
understand more. I'm
were
the
were
only
you the
child
youngest?
from my mother and my
Oh, yeah,
father.
okay, okay, gotcha, gotcha, gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's mm, yeah.
Yeah. I've had
But do you
oh,
feel that your family tried to understand? Like,
hell
okay,
no.
okay,
No.
Azul's different, but why is she different? Let's go ask her. Let's go over there and in the corner where she is drawing her little stick figures, and let's ask her. Hey, Azul, why are you so different? And try to understand. Did that ever happen, or was it just like she thinks differently, so she's not like us. Just leave her alone.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like being a black sheep,
Yeah,
pushed
and
to the side.
yeah,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
and that's a lot of people share that experience that are awakening, awake, whatever name you want to apply to to starting to question and seeing through things or realizing who and what they are, and there's different levels to it, but just not just going with the status quo. If your
Right.
family is just, hey, if the preacher didn't say it or the teacher didn't say it or the boss didn't
Right.
say it or it wasn't on the news, it ain't true. And
It ain't true.
yeah, pretty much. There's
Or
people,
they
yeah.
ain't see it with their
I
own
feel that.
eyes.
Right, right. Like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I mean, okay, yeah, there's a lot of things we didn't see, but there's logic, there's imagination. They're saying, okay, I understand you didn't see it and you weren't there, but let's look at the things that are on the outside that we can piece together. Okay, we didn't see the person that did the killing, right? We didn't see him
Mhm.
do the killing, but we got the footprints and we got the DNA and we got the camera and we got all of this evidence,
Right.
that can lead us to one way or another. Yeah, we don't know for sure, we weren't there, but we can say based on all of this, yeah, it looked like you did it. But you
Yeah.
got to look at it. You got to look at the evidence.
Yeah.
You got to investigate it. And if they just, well, you don't know what you're talking about, or no, no,
Exactly.
the,
You can't be one
the,
sided, but a lot of people are.
yeah, yeah. Because
Yeah.
in that analogy, which is not a good analogy of the murder, with the tape, it's like and I just use me and my family as an example. I throw me under the bus. It's like I said,
Okay.
hey, there's foul play here. They said this happened and that happened, and you need to look at the tape. Here's the tape. They recorded. Here's the tape. And the
Hmm.
family says, nah, that can't happen. Whatever. But they never look at the tape. They never examine. Like
Hmm.
in the tapes
Right.
here,
To
it's
make
like you can
sure
look at
to
the
check out.
yeah. Yeah, you can.
Right.
I mean, you believe in what they said. You never looked at the tape, but when I said it's this, you just,
You
oh,
never
it can't
get that
happen.
evidence.
Yeah, but you never investigated. You never looked into
Yeah.
it, and the
Yeah.
tape's right here, right? So yeah,
Yeah. Basically. Yep.
yeah,
Basically, that's the kind of person you become. And then all of a sudden you're the troublemaker. So then you got a name for yourself in the family. People don't really
mhm,
trust you. You don't have the credibility in the family. And it could go like that. But then at the same time, they're using you by always counting on you.
mm,
R- just knowing that you'll be there if they need you, just knowing that if they was like, hey, I have a doctor's appointment, can you come in the morning and take me to my doctor, they'll definitely use you, but at the same time they'll also tell you you're blaspheming, or you're not right, or you're doing things that you shouldn't be doing. So it's just like, it, That's how my family is. They'll point the finger instead of seeing themselves and getting
Yeah.
themselves
Oh,
together. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
There's a
know.
recurring theme going on. Yeah, there's a recurring theme going on. So a lot of people share that experience. I can echo that as well.
Hmm.
Um, so and I've learned to accept that that's just how it is, how they are. Just like you said in the beginning, how you can't imprint yourself on other people, or make other people do or see things the way you do. So
Right.
when you really apply that, it gives them a little more leeway, because
Hmm.
now you're not expecting them to do a certain thing. Um, but then there's also some distance in that as well, because now, if I know you're going to do a certain thing, and now I'm not going to be surprised whether you do it or not do it, but I may not want to be around that situation. Like, if I know you're going to be someone that is going to, if we go out to a club and we're chilling, and you start to drink a little too much, that if I
Hmm.
know you're going to be someone that's going to get in a fight and run your
Right.
mouth and all this stuff over nothing, then the odds of that happening are there. Then I wouldn't put myself, if you want to go out, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm not gonna put
I'm gonna
myself in that
stay home
situation.
instead.
Right, right. But if that happens and I go out, I'm not gonna be mad at you. Like that's what you do. Like, that's your
Hmm.
character.
Hmm.
Like I'm mad at me for being there when you did it. Like why did I not believe you when you said you were gonna do what
Allow
you
it.
do? Right. Or yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
And
because
not allow it. Yeah.
no, because and I'm looking this example up, but the essence of it is, a lot of the times people will tell you about themselves, and we discount it, or we think that we can change them. But people, if you really listen to them, they'll tell you about
If they
themselves.
want to be
And
changed or not. Yeah, they would.
yeah, yeah, and they'll tell you about the character. They'll tell you they
Right.
don't listen. They'll tell you they're hard headed, they're arrogant, they're this and that. Oh, okay, and
Mhm.
but I can change him or her or this, that, and the other, or you think that they're not sincere. People can tell the truth about themselves and their flaws and things of that nature. It can happen.
I mean, yeah, of course. It's like, don't get me wrong. It's not like I was perfect growing up. It's not at all. It's just the fact that I consider a lot of I look at other people as if how I want to be treated. I don't want I don't want you to go and bully somebody and then turn around and bully yourself. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you should be able to compare the pain or the suffering that you have went through, whatever loss that you had, you should be able to compare it. So why would you want to put that same pain onto somebody else? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm,
you should want to do and treat people better than how you have been treated. And a lot of people don't know how to do that. A lot of people will stay hurt or broken or upset because of something that happened or occurred in their lives, and they don't know how to handle that. So instead, they go around hurting other people by doing the exact same behavior that people in your past, family members, you know what I'm saying, mother, father, has hurt you with. You're going to do the same thing to somebody else down the line. And that's the thing about being woke. The fact of being woke is being able to heal yourself, being able to take on the responsibilities that you created, being able to apply the suffering that you have went through and understand that, okay, it wasn't because of me, it's because of that person, because that person was hurt, so they reflected that on me. You see what I'm saying? But humans mostly go through life not thinking that way. So when you don't apply that to your life or look at other people in that consideration, you end up hurting others. And then you're living with yourself with hurt and trauma. So now you don't even know how to behave correctly because you never healed yourself. You get what I'm coming
mm,
from?
hmm.
And we wonder why the world's so chaotic. It's like a lot of
Yeah,
people out there that's hurt. So you're hurting everyone else instead of healing yourself.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Very
and
true.
that's how my family was. They
Mm,
will rather hurt others and be low insecure about certain situations and cause pain onto other people instead of realizing maybe I just need to heal myself.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah, a lot of people are playing those cards. That just sounds like you're describing my family members.
Oh man,
and
yeah.
and you think about it, and again, just kind of looking how they say hurt people hurt other people, and just mimicking the environment that you come up in. Someone wasn't loving to you and they made it tough on you. So when you get to be the big boy, you ain't gonna make it easy for
Right,
the youngster. You
right.
gonna no, they did it to me, so it's
I'm gonna
my
do it
turn.
to
I'm gonna do it
you.
to you.
Yeah.
You yeah. Yeah. So but they
Yeah,
don't realize, well, that screwed you up when they did it to you. So why don't you not do it to somebody else? Like, you know, why don't you change
exactly.
it? Yeah.
Exactly. Do better.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. But people don't, I don't know what's wrong with them. They don't know how to do better. It's a problem. Like it's just like
Yeah.
how we was talking the other day. Oh, go.
No,
Go
I was
ahead.
just agreeing. It's a problem.
Okay.
No, no, this show's about you. Like these people don't, they already ignoring me, so they can listen, and they may hear some nuggets that you got to say. But I'm already
I mean,
yeah. So they already, yeah, they don't want to hear me. They want to hear you. So
it just depends on what they want. It depends. You got to ask me something else. Like growing up wasn't hard. I have experienced a lot in my growing up. So that's why I swing more to my spirituality because of the things I've seen, the things I've been through, the things I know, the dark side of our lives. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
Like I can be on both sides. I can go into my shadow, which is my darker side. I can go into my light, which is my higher side. I try more to just balance myself out, especially when we have the opportunity to experience life the way we do. I'd rather us experience it in the right way rather than experiencing it in the way we do today, which is fighting for
yeah,
materialistic stuff or money and having, like I said the other day, being in charge of a government that's doing nothing but playing Monopoly with our lives. So that's really it. But yeah, you got, I
yeah.
don't know what else you want me to talk about. We can go, we can
So
go so many different categories, you know?
yeah. So okay. So we'll finish the family thing, and then we'll
Okay.
tie that off. But because I'm curious, so can you talk about these things with your family? Like these conversations,
I could
can you
try.
just replace my face with other people in your family and still have this conversation?
Yeah. Yeah, I could. I've tried so many times. I've literally spoken to family members dead in their eyes, begging them to make better choices than the choices they're making, trying to get them to understand the truth of what's in your heart. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you really, is it your ego and your pride that you're feeding, or is it your spirit you're feeding? So when I go to somebody and I'm trying to talk to them about maybe the way they hurt me or the way they made me feel or how they were inconsiderate about my feelings, I would speak to them about it. But a lot of people they don't reply. They oh Azul, you'll be all right. Oh, you're strong. It don't matter. It's like they belittle you so much because they look at you like, oh, she's naive or she's stupid, she's slow or she's honest. And it's like just because I choose to be caring doesn't mean I can not murder somebody,
Right,
basically.
right. True, very true. Yeah, just because you choose to be nice doesn't mean I mean, it's a choice. Like people, yeah, that can be frustrating when people don't, you know, just because you're nice doesn't mean it doesn't mean you have to be a doormat either.
You feel me?
For the people, working on being nice. Nice, that whole turn the other cheek. That's a whole different story. But that doesn't. We're not here to be doormats. And yeah, and it is a choice, and we can protect ourselves when it comes time to.
Right. I just want to, like, I could share this with people. I want people to understand that it's okay to accept the hurt. It's okay to understand that
Mm.
it wasn't your fault on the situations that have chosen you, I would say, and to understand that they are better than what they've been through. And sometimes they just have to understand the lesson out of it because most of the time it shaped you into being who you are today. And that could be somebody actually a brilliant person or great like you or like me, you know know, or turn you to be somebody like Trump or or Biden or something like that. You know what I mean? Depending on
Mhm.
how you choose to heal yourself. So I just want people to know that they
Yeah.
can. We can do better. We can do better by wanting better for
Uh,
ourselves. Okay.
yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. There's so many things we can do better. People have a lot of. That's what gets me. That's not a pie in the sky thing to me. It's a real thing. The untapped potential of just the individual, and then just look at humanity as comprised of individuals, but the untapped potential that's there, just what we can do. It's amazing when you think about it. So, and we just haven't been taught, and I think it's purposeful
Right.
how to untangle ourselves, how to control our emotions, how to think about things logically, how to correct our mistakes, how to heal ourselves, how to forgive
Hmm.
others, how to all of these things, how to be strong. If people say, oh, well you're strong, okay, well what is strength? How do I acquire
Right.
this strength? Is this something that you either have or don't have, or is it something that I can either acquire
Gain. Yeah.
or gain within myself or strengthen that? We all have these qualities. It's just like the zodiac, right? So it's like the zodiac is like our thumbprint of the alignment of the stars and all of that stuff when we were born, right? But just because I'm
Hmm.
a Virgo, I'm born in Virgo, but I'm a
Hmm.
different part of each of the zodiac. We're all a piece of each of them. You may have one characteristics that is the majority, but you have
Right.
different characteristics. We all do, right? So and it's okay. It's okay. It's That's part of why we're here, is to be different. And but again, that healing, that healing thing, we haven't got to. But I think we'll get there. I
Yeah, a
think
lot of
this is
people haven't
I think
accomplished
part of the
that.
process is yeah, I think part of the process is just talking about it. Just like just saying it's possible. Just opening that door up.
Right. Right. It is possible. It just depends on which way. I feel like that's the whole point of like bringing up like people having religions or being in spirituality or just having some type of belief so that they can feel a support system. I feel like that's the whole point of having it. Just different ways that you can ground yourself, getting yourself healed and getting yourself together. And that's why I
Mhm.
feel like there's so many avenues, is the reason why I brought that up. Is because everybody thinks differently, everybody understands certain ways differently. So that's why there's so many opening avenues to go down. But I think it would help
Yeah.
if people start grasping onto that, what fits them, what makes them feel comfortable. It should be able to help start more healing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we're talking about healing. And hold on, because I wasn't expected to be talking about healing. So we're gonna have some fun. So this
Oh,
is my little. You see my little timeline in the back. So I'm going old school, right? With I'm back to scrolls and papyrus, right? So just give me a second. I'm going to
okay.
write, because that's one of our topics is healing. So, but
Right.
um, I need to get it. Oh, and just before I scroll up, this was what we talked about yesterday, where we were talking about going back in time and how this is kind of on its side, but looking at the pyramids in ancient Egypt, and just the spiritual
Aspect.
fall, yeah, the spiritual fall that we're experiencing, that we're trying to correct and take it
Okay.
back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of what I was grabbing. But yeah, I just wanted to write on this just as a note, because this is part of my history. This is my timeline. So and I'm playing with something with this as well. But yeah, just kind of. want to do that. So, because healing is important. But here, this is why I wanted to write that down, because the thing about healing is experienced.
Right.
Healing is experienced. Like, if that cut is healed or not. Like,
You
someone
feel
can
me?
tell you, like, oh well, it's healed. Like, and I know what it looks like, and I know what it feels, so so
Yeah.
I think that's a disconnect, because for one, we're not taught about how to heal, what healing is, and things of that nature. So we
Right.
know it exists. We know healing happens from the inside. Our body heals from the inside, right? It's not an
Mm-hmm.
external thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to search for your healing externally you're already looking in the wrong direction,
True.
right? If you cut anything that cuts you externally, the
Mm-hmm.
healing is still coming from internally,
Internally.
right?
Yeah.
The external
Yeah.
world, is slicing all of us up, but the
Yeah.
healing is internal, right? And when you've been healed, just like when you've been cut. So I think people have a longing because they know it's possible. They know, like, there's this state that they can feel like they can be healed, they can be whole in this, but it's just it's not happening. It's not happening, and I think there's a frustration in that people just aren't able to express, and it builds up, and it just pops, and that's when people do silly stuff that's out of character. I think a lot of times, but and
Right.
it manifests in different ways, even on a small scale. When you really boil down to why people do what they do,
Well,
when they
it
know it's detrimental to them.
to them. Yeah. Well, I was gonna say is, well, it really takes acceptance. That's why I've said it so many times. It takes acceptance in order for you to heal or to even start healing. It takes the acceptance of you, your history. Can you accept the pain that you've went through? Can you accept the trauma that you have experienced?
Hmm.
Can you understand it? Can you dissect it on why, or maybe try to understand why it had happened to you? So
Yeah,
like, because everybody is different, we can have trauma and experience so many different things that can affect us in a long way. So it really just depends on if we know how to dissect the trauma, understand the trauma, recognize it, and then accept it. You have to accept it in order to heal it. Other than that, that tenderness is going to stay there. It's always going to be a trigger.
you on fire, boy. You need to. I need to have an award or something for fire topics.
No, stop. Stop. I'm just being honest.
Put a little.
These are the things I had to learn myself, in order for me to get where I'm at today, man. Like, come on now. I just said I basically, I'm a loner, pushed to the side, black sheep of the family. Everything I do wasn't congratulated. It wasn't as
Mm,
supportive as I would like it to be. So,
mm,
and then if I do shine and shine brighter than most of my people in my family, it was like, no, don't do that. Cover
mm.
yourself. It's not going to work.
Yeah, that
Like,
part.
you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, that's not cool. I just want to say, and because you just to get my little piece in before you get back on your excellent point, is acceptance requires you to face the issue. You gotta look at it. You gotta see it. Like, you can't run away from it. So that's part of why acceptance is tough, because for me to accept something means I gotta look at it. Like, I gotta like
yep,
it's a
dissect it.
possibility.
Yep,
Yeah. I gotta
live it
and
again.
yeah, and that actually makes it exist and real, because I can ignore something and pretend it doesn't exist
Right,
and not accept it. But
right.
if I accept it, I'm, giving it some validity. Like, it's something to look at here.
Yeah, like, damn, that really happened.
Yeah.
I forget that happened, but that really happened. Yeah, yeah, you have to, because there was a lesson in it. Though we might not see it now, there was something in there in that moment that can teach you why. What was that person dealing with themselves? You know what I'm saying? Most of the time, it's never you personally. Most of the time, it's what that person
Right.
went through. You see what I'm saying? It's the trauma, it's the damage that they have not healed from themselves. And like we just said not too long ago, that's how you get that, oh, I'm gonna treat other people because it was done to me.
Right, right, right.
It's the same behavior. It's generational basically. If you don't heal it, it'll continue.
Yeah, and that's another disconnect too. Yeah, because just what you said. Yeah, it was there, and it because it made a lot of sense. Because the things that we need to do that we're maybe aware of on some level don't have the skills to do.
Mhm.
Talking about healing, um, examples of how to do that. These aren't things we discuss. Men don't sit and talk about, hey man, how's your healing going? They talk about
Right,
the game and who did this and all of this, and it's just
right.
superficial stuff. And how you doing? Good. How you doing? Good. Both y'all lying, and tomorrow, we're gonna do it again, right?
Pretty much.
And yeah, and that's fine. That's one way we can do it, but there's plenty other ways that we can. But it's going to take what you mentioned, to heal, to accept, and there was another word you mentioned that I should have just wrote down instead of talk. That's why I had to scroll. So,
Which
but it's
one?
true.
Dissect?
No, keep talking, and it'll come back. It was it because you were talking about dissecting, but it wasn't dissect. It was something else that clicked.
It really just depends. Okay. Um,
Yeah,
I don't know. I wish
yeah,
you remember.
yeah.
Kind of said a
It'll
couple
come
of
back.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, it'll do. And we got to record it. That's part of
that's true.
keeping a record, right? So yeah, so
Yeah,
we don't have to. And it's yeah, yeah.
it's what
So, huh?
I said. It's what.
No, it's cool. I think it's cool to be pretty much ahead of. I mean, to be ahead of the game. And I do want to ask you a question on woke and being awake, but I think it's cool to be ahead of the game as far as the things that you've done and experienced to get to where you've gotten now, to talk about healing and accepting and things of that nature. So that's a journey that
Mhm.
you had to go through and experience yourself, right? That journey
Yeah,
is there that other
tough.
people are going to have to do themselves. Like that's the work you got to do yourself. Like you got to dig that hole yourself, or you got to dig
You have
yourself
to.
out of that hole yourself.
You have to.
So,
You have
and
to.
that's
That's what.
that's yeah, that's part
Sorry.
of
Go ahead.
that's like a heavy weight people don't want to lift. It's like, I don't want to. That looks like a lot of digging, because
Right.
I know what I threw in that hole. And you mean to tell me I got to dig all that stuff back out to get my treasure? Like, I threw all my
Yeah.
stuff on top of that? Like,
Yeah.
really? Like, I don't know. Like,
That's the mistake. That's the
mm,
problem right there. Because then you have to realize, in order to find yourself and your higher self, your motivation to go further, you have to go backwards. And that's the problem.
mm.
That's the whole problem. Why you think everybody choose to go in different avenues like drugs, sex, porn, alcoholism. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh, we lost her. Uh, we'll see if she calls back. But yeah, she was going in. Yeah, we'll see if she calls back. Yeah.
yeah,
Welcome
welcome
to part
part
two,
two,
ladies and gentlemen.
gentlemen.
We got
Hello,
Azul
ladies
back.
and gentlemen.
She was
She was
she was
she
speaking
was
a little
speaking a
too.
little
Oh,
too.
I think we got an
Got an
echo.
echo. Uh-oh.
Is that
Said,
I know you
no,
were
you were
speaking too
speaking
much
too
truth
much truth
last
last
time. We had to
time. We
shut
had
it
to shut it
down.
down.
Now they
They
definitely
definitely
tapped in.
tapped in.
I hear
I
an
hear
echo.
an
I wonder
echo.
if
I wonder if
that's.
that's. Is it me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's some
there's some
there's some
there's some
feedback going
feedback
on.
going on.
I'm not sure
Not
what we
sure
got
what we
going
got
on.
going on. Is it me? Is it me when it echoes?
Did you do you have a
Do you
different
have a
setup
different setup
than what you
than
had
what you had
before?
before? No.
All right, I'm not sure
I'm
what
not
it
sure what
is.
it is.
Maybe it's just
Maybe it's
somebody
just
on
somebody
my
on
end.
my end.
So don't worry about it.
So don't worry about it.
Yeah, so we were talking about healing and
Yeah, so we were talking about healing and
dissecting,
acceptance, and
looking at
dissecting,
the whole
looking at
what's
the
behind us
whole
that
of
we
the
gotta
what's
dig out
behind
to
us that we
get to the
gotta
treasure
dig out
that
to get to the treasure
that's that's there. And I
that's
think
that's there.
that's
I
when they
think
said
Right.
no.
that's when
Said,
no.
they said little mama speaking too
They
much
said,
true. We
little mama
gonna shut it
speaking too
down real
much true. We
quick.
gonna shut it down real quick.
Sure did too, didn't they?
Yeah, so we gonna
Yeah,
shut this
so we
down
gonna
real
shut this
quick.
down real quick.
But we resilient.
But
We
we
came back
resilient. We
on. We said,
came back on.
we
We said,
gonna move. We
we
gonna switch it up.
gonna
We gonna
switch it up. We
change
gonna
this. We
change this.
gonna,
We ain't gonna
you gonna
So
win.
we're
We
gonna
not the
finish
they
this.
say.
Right.
Not the they say.
They say.
Oh boy.
But yeah,
Anyway.
that's where we was. You gotta tell me. So
No,
I mean,
I
I
think
think
that's
that's
part of the
part of
work
the
we
work
need
we
to
need to
do
do
is
is
to,
to,
and this
and
part
it's
of the
part of the
conversation,
conversation,
and we can
and
have
we can
fun
have
with it. It
fun with
doesn't
it. It
have to
doesn't have to
be.
be.
I think
I
that's
think that's
part of
part of
why
why
people
people
don't
don't
want to
want
look
to
into it.
look
Because yeah,
into
it's
it.
work.
Because yeah,
Okay,
it's
yeah.
work. Okay,
I
yeah.
mean, work is work. Digging a
I
hole is
mean,
digging
work
a
is
hole.
work. Digging a hole is digging a hole.
mhm.
It doesn't mean it has
It
to
doesn't
be
mean it has to be
painful.
painful.
And
And
sometimes knowing that
sometimes
there's
knowing that
value
there's
in
value in
the work that
the
you're
work that you're
doing,
doing,
it makes the
it makes
work
the work
better
better
to.
to.
It makes the
It
work
makes the work
easier to
easier to
endure.
endure.
If I
If I
know I'm
know
digging
I'm
this
digging this
hole,
hole,
but this is
but
going to
this
be
is
a
going to be a
foundation
foundation
for my
for my
house.
house.
Okay, well
Okay, well
that's
that's
different. I'm gonna
different.
be
I'm
living
gonna
on
be
this
living on
house for
this house
30
for 30
years.
years.
Okay,
Okay,
let's
let's
get this whole
get
right.
this
Let's
whole
get it
right.
deep,
Let's get it
right?
deep, right?
My great great
My
great grandchildren gonna be running
grandchildren gonna be
on
running
what we
on
building,
what we building,
Right.
right?
right?
So
Yeah.
So
they
With
have to
that
see the
being
they
said,
have
value,
to see the value,
and the value hasn't
and
been
the
there
value
yet
hasn't been there
because I think
because I think
people are smart. Then
people are
people are
smart.
smarter than I
People
think
are smarter than I
they're
think
given credit
they're
for.
given credit
They're
for.
just not
They're
given the
just not
options
given the
to
options
show their
to show their
intelligence. And
intelligence.
intelligence
And
is kind of
intelligence is
limited
kind
in
of
how
limited
we
in
measure
how
and
we
show
measure
it
and show it
in a
in a
very
very
thin
thin
range.
range.
Like
yeah,
if
If
you're
you're not
not intelligent in the
intelligent in
ways
the
we
ways
say
we
you
say
are, then you're not
we're
you're not
intelligent.
intelligent.
intelligent,
But that's not, I
that's
mean,
not mean
yeah, that's not the
that's not
right
the
way to
right way
measure
to
it,
measure
in my
it.
opinion.
Right. That's exactly how they do it. You're intelligent only if you're book smart. You're not intelligent if you
Right.
understand the ins and outs of this earth. But then again, you can't even tell people that you understand the ins and outs of the earth because
Say the last part one more time.
One more time.
I said, then again, you can't tell people that you know the ins and outs of this earth because then that will cause more problems.
Right.
And they will wonder how and why. And
yeah, how you know it all, and this. Oh, you went to
Yeah.
college, and you think
Yeah.
wait a minute, huh?
Exactly. And sometimes
Yeah.
some of the things you learn isn't even about college. It's about
No, it has nothing to do
being
with
in your
college.
spirit, taking the time to go back into your past, taking the time to meditate, taking the time to speak to your ancestors. You know what I'm saying? Get history and record that DNA that you already have. And you start to understand, wow, the world's a much more than what we see.
Yeah. So we only got a half
So we
hour.
only
So I
got a
don't want to
half
get
hour,
into
so
too
I don't
deep.
want
So
to
we're
get
gonna have
into
to
too
we're gonna
deep.
have to get
We're gonna
you
have to
Okay.
get you back.
get you back.
Yeah,
So
already got to be
already
a
got
part
to be
three.
a part
'Cause,
three.
Okay.
And we'll
Oh,
do it
part
without
three.
this
We'll
echo.
do it
I
without
can
this
endure the
echo. I
echo
can
to
endure
finish
the
now.
echo to finish now.
But
But
we'll make sure to get a
we'll
clean
make sure to get a
connection
clean
next time.
connection next time.
But when you
Oh,
said
But when you
DNA,
said
this is what
DNA,
this is why I
this is
thought
what I
about
thought
like
about, like
how they
how
talk
they
about
talk
all
about
this
all
junk
this junk
DNA.
DNA.
Mm-hmm.
What if that
What if
junk
that junk
DNA is
DNA
like
is like
that
that
treasure that
treasure that
is
is
mined by
mined by
doing this
doing
inner
this inner
work?
work?
And
And
doing that
doing
inner
that
work
inner
clears out the
work
mucks and
clears out the
turns on
mucks and
those
turns on
switches
those
that
switches
activates the
that
abilities
activates
that
the
are already
abilities
within
that
us.
are already within us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. But in order to do that, you have to do what?
Gotta dig. You gotta go
You
within.
gotta
You
go
gotta do the
within. You gotta
work.
do the
You
work.
gotta question it. I mean, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
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 But
There you go.
but part of it
Part of
too
it
is
too is
people don't
people
know
don't
that
know
that's
that that's
possible and that's
possible and that's
there
there
because some
because
people's
some people's
spirituality
spirituality
only goes
only
to the
goes to the
level
level
of
of
somebody
somebody
died for
died for
me for
me
my
for my
sins and they're
sins
gonna
and they're gonna
come
come
and save
and
me from
save
the
me
devil.
from the
And
devil.
the devil's
And
bad.
the devil's bad.
And it's very black and white
it's
and
very
simple
black and
and
white and simple
superficial.
and superficial.
And it's not that they
And
can't
it's
get
not
into the
that they
depths
can't
of it.
get
It's
into the
just
depths
that
of it. It's
there's
just that
never been a need
there's
to.
never been a
That's
need to. That's
because why question the
why
preacher?
question the preacher?
He knows what he's
He
talking
knows
about.
what he's talking about.
God talks to
God
him.
talks to him.
And King
King
James,
James,
he was
he was
king.
king.
There's a way you
There's a way
can
you
make the
can make the
story
story
sound good
sound
to
good to
yourself to
yourself to
where
where
it doesn't
it
need
doesn't need
investigation.
investigation.
Right, but then ask me this: how many people are sitting in the church and actually growing?
Well, that's the thing. That's where
the thing.
the part where
That's
you
where
said about healing
the
was so
part where you
powerful
said about
because
healing was so powerful because
you're in this place where this healing's
you're
supposed
in
to
this place
happen,
where this
but
healing's supposed to
my
happen,
cut's
but
still
Right,
here.
my cut's
You
still here.
know,
right,
my cut's
right,
still here.
My cut's still
I done
here.
prayed to
I done
Jeebus. I done
prayed to
gave this,
Jeebus. I done gave this,
right.
and
my cut's
You
still
got
my
here.
cut's still
All
here.
right, I hear you. Now,
I
after
hear you
years
now.
and
After
years of
years and
that,
years
it's
of
like,
that,
wait a
it's
minute,
like,
right.
wait a minute,
can this place
can this
really heal
place
my
really
cut?
heal
You
my
start
cut? You start
questioning,
questioning.
And then that's when
but
you
yeah,
have to get
that's
deeper. Because then it's like, then you move into psychology. The deeper, the trauma, the damage. Why hasn't it healed? Because you haven't accepted it. If you don't do the work and heal what has hurt you, how do you expect to feel the closeness to a God or a entity that is bigger than you, that is higher than you, that gives fruit of love, kindness, joy, happiness? You can't grasp onto that.
that's
You
true.
can't grasp onto that, especially if you're playing in your ego, your pride, your flesh.
Yeah.
You won't get to your higher self by doing these things. So
Yeah, it's tougher. You're
It's
going
tougher.
you're going in the wrong
You're going in the
direction.
wrong direction.
It's like
It's like
you're just going
you're
in the
just
wrong
going in the wrong
direction.
direction.
and you
So
don't get the healing for that. And that's the reason why
no,
the world's so chaotic now.
yeah,
Because most of
yeah,
these people are in their ego. They're in their flesh and they're in their pride, which brings all the sins of lust, gluttony, greed, envy.
yeah.
You start playing in all those pride, love for
Well,
oneself.
Well,
Sorry.
yeah. It just
yeah,
having
it
this what
just having
the
this what
visual that came
the
to my
visual that
mind
came to
is.
my mind is.
So it's,
So it's,
we're not being
we're not
healed.
being healed.
So
So
in order
in order
for
for
this
this
cut
cut
to
to
be
be
pacified,
pacified,
I'm gonna
I'm
put
gonna
some
put some
lust on
lust
there.
on there.
I'm gonna put
I'm gonna put
some
some
pride on
pride
there.
on
I'm gonna
there.
put
I'm gonna
some
put some
gluttony on
gluttony on
there.
there.
I'm gonna
I'm gonna
pacify
pacify
myself
myself
with
with
whatever
whatever
sin
sin
vice I have my
vice I
Feel
choice.
have
good.
my choice.
Right,
hmm
right.
Right, right.
Yeah. And that's what the world is doing. Majority of us.
Mm. Yeah,
We
yeah.
cover it up
Yeah.
by putting ourselves in other stuff, being distracted, not spending time with ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Working all the time. What do you think all these things are? They're distractions. They're to keep you away from that healing. It's to keep you away from those thoughts that you don't want to remember, the trauma that you went through. Because some people might have that PTSD where, they can be in a situation and all of a sudden have that flashback and shut down. You got to heal that. In order to heal that, you got to get past that. And it might take more. It might take therapy. It might take, a different type of help in order for that to be brought to the surface so that you can heal it and accept it. Other than that, you keep trying to flush it down, it's never going to be healed. It's not going to go anywhere.
Right.
No matter how many times, if you drink alcohol, you're only trying to numb it, but it's still there,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
problem's
Your
still
problem's
gonna be
still
there
gonna
when
be
you're
there when
done.
you're done.
Right.
When that
When
high or
that high or that
whatever, when that
whatever,
feeling of whatever
when
you
that feeling of whatever you
or we
are we
do to pacify ourselves
do to
is
pacify
done.
ourselves
That next
is done.
morning, those
Next
same
morning,
issues are still
those
there.
same issues are still there.
Exactly. And then you're wondering why, and there can't be a God because of what I've been through, and all these thoughts and stuff come to your head, and it's like, bro, it just don't make sense because you're not facing what happened. You're not
Yeah.
understanding the reason it happened. You're just blaming it and being blind to it, and that's where you get chaos in the
And you
rarest form.
haven't done
Haven't
one
done one
thing
thing
to fix
to
it. So
fix
that
it. So
same
that same
problem is the
problem is
same
the
size
same
tomorrow.
size
You haven't
tomorrow. You haven't
bit a little bit
get a
off
little
of
bit
it.
off of it.
It's the same
It's the same
size.
size.
Yep. It never stops. That's true.
Yeah,
But in order to heal, you have to dabble in it. You have to dissect it, and you have to try to understand in order to let it go.
Mm.
Then move past it.
Yeah, that's real there.
It's real there.
Yeah, so
Yeah. So
I think I think I
I
can
can
I hear
I hear
a
a
healing
healing
speech
speech
being
being
formulated
formulated
somewhere in the
somewhere in the
potential
potential
timelines.
timelines.
Let's get it.
Mm.
Let's get it.
Because
Let's get it.
because this is just a
This is just a
conversation I can
conversation I
imagine
can imagine if you
if you really try to
try to
say, well, let
say,
me
well, let me
present this and
present
really
this and really
refine this,
refine
like
this. Like
you can
you can
really,
really,
yeah,
yeah,
that I
that
think
I
that'd be
think that'd be
powerful
powerful
because
because
it's not
it's not
about
about
making it
making it
uh language
language
or
or
describing it
describing
in
it
a
in a
way
way
that's not
that's not
easy for
easy
people
for
to
people to
understand.
understand.
Like we
Like
want
we
people to
want people to
understand.
understand.
We're not
Yeah.
trying
We're
to
not trying to
be
make
confusing.
confusing.
We're trying to be clear
We're
in our
trying to be clear in
communication.
our communication.
Right.
Yeah.
That way you can just accept it and grow, and then you'll be able to have a better outcome, a better perspective. You'll want more to life till then maybe you'll learn to have unity. You get what I'm saying? That's the whole point of us getting here is to become unity. Like, let me give you a little scenario. You remember the Power Rangers, right? And you know
Mhm.
how when they unite up and they become the animal, but then they become this big old like transformer kind of thing, or however people call it. People are gonna be mad at me for not knowing the
Oh
name.
yeah, they're gonna be. I mean, she gonna you butcher about three or four things. Power Rangers and Adam. Wait a minute, what Adam? You gonna have
But
people confused.
you know,
No, but hold on.
you know how
Are you
they
talking
like
about? Are you talking about Voltron?
Voltron?
yes, when they come
The
all
lions come
together.
together and make it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I know they're gonna be so mad at me, man. I'm so sorry. Forgive me.
We good. I got. Hold
But
on. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Keep going.
that's what we have to do as a people. See what I'm saying? Like we have to do that as a people. We can't do that if we're not uniting. And in order to unite, you have to heal. So we will never have growth and a better land and better life if we don't understand how to take care of ourselves first. And then we have to be able to learn to take care of the world too at the same time because there's a lot happening under our noses that's damaging to the earth. And people are like, oh, we're going to have many more years living here? How? How if we're killing it off now, you know?
That's
How are we
true.
going to be able to keep growing and keep living if we're. Oh my God.
Is that what you're talking
Is that what
about?
you're talking about?
Yes.
Voltron.
Oh.
And so each
So
one of
each
these
one of
is a
these is a
little.
little.
What is it? Each one
Each
is
one is
its own
its
little
own little
tiger.
tiger.
Because some
Because
people
some
might
people
not
might
know
not
what
know what
Voltron
Voltron
is.
is.
Like they may be like, Voltron, what are they talking
Like
about?
Voltron, what are they talking
Because
about?
some of the young kids,
Yeah.
right?
Some of the young kids, right? I mean, they.
So I think there's a
So
cartoon now
I
still.
think
But
there's a
anyway,
cartoon now still. But
these are
anyway,
5
these
individual
are 5
lines
individual lines
that in the
that
cartoon they used
in
to
the
always
cartoon they
get
used
their
to
butts
always get
kicked
their butts
individually,
kicked
right?
individually,
So
right?
they
Right.
So
live in
they
different
live in
Right.
places.
different places.
Like one
Like
person
one
drives
person
this
drives this
one,
one,
another person
another
drives
person
the
drives
red
the red
one,
one,
and the blue
the
one, and
blue
the
one, and
yellow
the
one,
yellow
and
one,
the
and
black
the
one.
black one.
And then
And then
they fly
they fly
around, they're
around, they're
fighting
fighting
these bad
these bad
people.
people.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
doing
I'm doing
puppets. Watch
puppets.
out.
Watch out.
Fighting bad
Fighting bad
people.
people.
And then they
And
get
they
beat
get
up
beat
by
up
this
by
big
this big
bad
bad
monster,
monster. I'm
knocking,
knocking.
I'm the
I'm the
road beast. They
road
call him
beast. They
road
call
beast.
them road beast.
So I'm
Right.
So I'm
knocking
knocking
lines everywhere.
lines everywhere.
And eventually
And
they say, all
eventually they
right,
say, all right,
let's make
let's make
Voltron.
Voltron.
So then they
So
go
then
and then
they
they
go and then they
combine
combine
all the 5
all the
All
5
lions
into one.
into,
lions into
you talk about
talk
unity.
about
So this
unity.
is
So
what
this
we
is
grew up
what we
on,
grew up
right? It's
on,
like,
right?
let's
It's like,
form
Right.
let's form
Voltron.
Voltron.
Right.
Uh-oh.
Don't shoot your
Shoot
head
your
off.
head off.
But
But
so
so
anyway,
anyway,
this comes
this comes
together, and
together,
now
and
you
now
got
you
this
got this
big
big
thing,
thing,
and then
and
he
then
has
he
his
has his
sword,
sword,
and
and he just
and they
and
don't
they
mess
don't
with
mess with
Shing.
him.
Voltron. Just
Voltron just
slices it
slices
one
it one
time, and they're
time,
just
and they
like
just like
fall in
fall in
half.
half.
Yes.
Next thing you
Next
know,
thing you
he's
know,
just
he's just
behind him,
behind him,
and you
and
just
you
see the
just see
road
the
beast
road
back
beast back
there. He
there.
just
He just
Yes.
slides,
falls in
falls
half.
in half.
Yeah. Like a
But yeah,
beast.
But yeah,
Like we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be
yeah,
beastie out here.
exactly, yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm
Hmm.
a
So
fan,
yeah,
obviously.
I'm a fan, obviously.
Yeah.
I am too, but I don't remember the names of these things. Okay, like I'm sorry,
It's been a
people.
while.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
That's old
That's
school.
old
I'm
school.
older
I'm older than
than you are,
you
so
are, so
it's more
it's
of my
more of my
childhood.
childhood.
I
I
remember,
remember
that was a
that was a
staple
staple
watching that
watching
after
that after
school.
school.
Nah, I used to love the Power Rangers, man. I used to love them.
Now,
Now,
yeah, I remember Power
Power
Rangers.
Rangers.
I was
I was
more
more
of
of
a
a
Ultron
Ultron
fan.
fan.
Power
Power
Rangers, I
Rangers, I
thought they
thought
were
they
like
were like
too
too
childish.
childish.
Like
Like
like their
they're
bad
bad
guys just
guys,
seemed
just
a little
seem
more
a little more
comical.
comical.
Oh
And
yeah.
it was like it was for younger
younger
kids. That's
kid.
just what
That's
I
just what I
thought about it. I
thought
mean,
about
they
it. I
have
mean,
some
they
cool
have some
stuff,
cool stuff,
but to
but
me,
to me,
when they were
when
out,
they
I
were
was like,
out, I was like,
oh,
oh, you know that
it's
it's just
it's like they're
like
just
they're
kind of
just
it's
kind
just
of just
comical.
comical.
Right.
So
That's just kind
that's
of
kind of
how
how
I never
so I
really
never
got it.
really got it.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
cool. It's cool. It's cool. I like the Transformers too. So, but that's how we have to look at it. I just, wanted to use that example because it's the truth. Once we're all healed and able to come together and unite, we can destroy anything.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But we have to get there.
Yeah.
And the only way we can get there is by people doing their part. And that's truly just healing, finding your way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a
There's
guy
a guy I know
called
called
Jesus
Jesus
Jackson,
Jackson,
Yeah.
and
he
he has a
he has
quote
a
that
quote that
says,
says,
"Put your
"Put your
oar in the
oar in the
water,"
water,"
and just
and just
basically
basically
talking
talking
about
about
accountability
accountability
and taking action
and taking action
and not being dead
and not
weight
being
on
dead
this
weight on this
spaceship Earth
spaceship Earth and
Right.
using the
using the
God-given
God-given
Yes.
talent, ability, and
talent,
energy that we
ability, and
have.
energy that we
You
have.
know,
Yeah.
what are the things we can do
What
for
are the things we can do
ourselves?
for ourselves?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Come on now. And we already know that's a lot. And that's going into a whole nother story there. And we want to break that down. Right?
That's
Exactly.
That's a
That's a
whole
whole
lot.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot more to go. Because then, we can get deep. We can go. We can get there if we want to. But
Oh,
I'd
we
rather
going
get
there.
into a peaceful peace.
That's the destination.
That's
Yeah,
the
that's
destination.
why we're
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
it.
That's why we're doing
Yeah,
it.
at least in
At least
my lane. Like
at
I'm
least
not
in
playing
my
games.
lane.
We
Like I'm
we
not
going into black
playing
hole.
games.
Let's see
We going into black
let's see
hole.
if it's really
Let's
spoiled
Period.
if we really go to the
let's
other
see if
side.
it's really important if you really go to the other side.
For real. Let's get out of here.
Let's find out.
Hey,
There
let's
was
find out. There was
and
a
my PlayStation has been messed up for
my
a while, so I
PlayStation has
haven't played a
been
game
messed
in
up
a
for a
long
while, so I
time.
haven't
But
played a
there
game
was a
in a long
game
time.
called
There
No
was a
Man's
game
Sky,
called
which is
No
basically
Man's
about like
Sky, which
space
is basically about
exploration.
like space
You
exploration.
ride around different
You
planets
ride
and
around
meet
different
different
planets and
aliens
meet
and
different
learn different
aliens and
languages and
learn
things of that
different
nature. It's
languages
pretty
and things of
cool.
that nature. It's pretty cool.
That sounds cool.
It's a time
It's a
consuming game
time-consuming
because it's
game
pretty
because
much
it's pretty much
a huge
a huge
universe.
universe.
But
But anyway,
and it didn't
and it
save
didn't
it because
save
my
it because my
PlayStation was
PlayStation
acting
was
up,
adding
so I
up,
don't
so
know
I don't know
exactly
exactly
what
what
happened.
happened.
But I came close to a black hole in the game, and I flew through the black hole, and it was a portal, and I got to another side. So through the black hole was a portal in the game, and I don't know if that was in there or not. And I thought that would kill me or something like that. I wondered what would happen, right? But it actually was a portal on the other side, and the PlayStation was acting up and didn't save, so that's why it. And I haven't come across that part in the game yet because the PlayStation did that. But I did wonder what were they going to show on the other side of that thing. So we're missing Azul again. We'll give her a few minutes to get back on. We'll keep this open. And just looking at what she sent before was 27 minutes ago, 8:27. See synchronicity there. So we talk about synchronicity, coincidence, things of that nature. I take like a screenshot of that one. So for instance, if you look in my library, let's see, I was doing a lot of video shots there, but and you can see other times that there were synchronistic events, right? So it happens a lot. I just keep track of it, and these are mile markers in the timeline. That's how I look at it from my perspective. So, but yeah, she happened to synchronistically text 27 minutes ago at 8:27 when we looked down, and it happened to be that time. So these are just, to me, those are examples of aspects of ourselves that are beyond what we can perceive with our senses, showing us that we are able to perceive things more than our senses, which is a limited scope in the electromagnetic spectrum. And we'll get into that at some other point in time. But right now we're we're seeing if Azul will call back, and we'll give it one more try. So just give us 1 second.